Hello students, we are going for the next multiple choice questions. Question number 25. Question number 25. A fleshy root tapering at both the ends. Here the question is, the roots are fleshy roots tapering at both the ends is first one, fusiform roots. Fusiform roots. So in a fusiform, just we see there is a presence of a radical and there is a presence of gradually like this and leads to swelling and gradual tapering can be noticed. So such type of a root is called as fusiform root. So when we go for a second one called as conical root. So this fusiform root can be noticed in radish, Raphanus sativus. Next one is conical root. So here the radical is giving rise to large swelling and gradual taperings can be seen. So this type of root is usually called as a conical root. This can be seen in the carrot. And the third option called as napiform. The third one is napiform root. Here there is again radical is giving rise to large swelling and there is a presence of sudden tapering can be noticed. Sudden tapering can be noticed. This is in the beetroot called as beta vulgaris. Beetroot beta vulgaris. And the fourth one is called as tuberous root. The fourth one is tuberous root. So tuberous roots, we can see there is a presence of tuber like structures and gradual swelling. There are many like this. Tuberous roots will be like this. So this can be noticed in the sweet potato. Sweet potato called as Epomia batatas. I'll repeat this. The fusiform root is called as radish, Raphanus sativus. The conical root is called as carrot, called Dacus carota. And napiform root is called as beetroot, called as, botanical name is called as Beta vulgaris. And tuberous root, sweet potato, Epomia batatas. Here the question is, the roots are flesh, roots tapering at both the ends. So tapering. So here also you can see there is a presence of tapering and here also there is a presence of tapering. Hence the right answer is called as fusiform roots is the right answer. So we go for the second one called as stilt roots occurs in. Stilt roots occurs in. First option, groundnuts, Elianthus. So first we will see what is stilt roots. So stilt roots are nothing but adventitious roots. So in this adventitious roots, so just we see that when we go for maize, sugarcane, this maize, sugarcane is a monocot. I am repeating it. Stilt roots are nothing but adventitious roots. So the meaning of adventitious roots, the roots arises other than the radical. If a radical is giving rise to root system, it should be either taproot or fibrous root system. Other than the radical, if the root system takes its origin, they are called as adventitious. For example, it is taking at the nodal region of the stem. For example, when we go for sugarcane or maize, towards the lower side, there is a presence of fibrous root. But from the nodal region, the roots are being produced. From the nodal region, the roots are being produced and this gives a mechanical support and these roots are called as stilt roots. So we are going to see. So options, the first option is usually called as groundnuts. First option, groundnut, Helianthus. So, in a groundnut and Helianthus, there is a presence of normal taproot system is present. Taproot system modifications have been present here, and there is a presence of taproot system in sunflower. Elianthus is called as Elianthus anus. This is the botanical name, Elianthus anus. It is common name of a sunflower. So, groundnuts is called as Arachis hypogea. Arachis hypogea. So, both are dicot. There is a presence of taproot system. So, we go for the second one called as rice. Varyza sativa. Varyza sativa is the botanical name of rice, and this is monocot. Rice is monocot and has the presence of fibrous root system. Fibrous root system is present. So, we go for the third one called as sugarcane. Sugarcane and maize. Maize is called zea maize. Sugarcane is called sorghum. Sorghum is the sugarcane name. Maize is called as zea maize. In this, there is a presence of lower side. There is a presence of fibrous root, but from the nodal region. Nodal region, there is a presence of stilt roots. There is a presence of stilt roots. So, the right answer is called as sugarcane. And in the fourth option, we go for wheat. The fourth option is called as wheat. So, in wheat, there is a presence of fibrous root system. Wheat has a presence of fibrous root system. Again, it is a monocot. So, here the right answer is called as sugarcane. So, we go for the next question, 27. Root system grows from. Root system grows from. The first one is called as embryo. Embryo of seed. This is the first option. So, we know that the word embryo, after fertilization, there is a formation of embryo. So, one of the pollen grain nucleus, or we call it as male gamete. Male nucleus fuses with the egg cell. Pollen male nucleus fuses with the egg cell to form a zygote. This zygote undergoes further development to give rise to embryo. So, here the first one is embryo of a seed. This is not the answer. So, we go for the second one called as the radicle. The second one is called as radicle of embryo. The second one is called radicle of embryo. So, we know that there is a presence of, whether in a monocot or in a dicot seed, there are two parts of being present. One is called as a radicle and the other one is a plumule. So, in a embryo of embryos, there is a presence of radicle which always gives rise to root system. Radicle gives rise to root system and plumule gives rise to shoot system. Hence, here the root system grows from. So, the right option is radicle of the embryo. The third one is called as plumule. The third one is plumule of embryo. Here the plumule of embryo is giving rise to shoot system. This is giving rise to root system, whereas here plumule is giving rise to shoot system, that is called as aerial part, stem, leaf, branches, all that are called as shoot system. And the fourth one is called as, the fourth option is called as coleoptile. Coleoptile. So, it is coleoptile is nothing but it is the covering of a young leafy shoot. So, covering of a young leafy shoot is called as coleoptile. Covering of young leafy shoot. So, in a root, we have seen that there is a presence of, usually one is called as Radicle is giving rise to root. So that root usually takes its origin from the radicle. Whereas the plumule, so when we go for a monocot seed, there is a presence of embryo, and this is covered by a aileron layer, and here there is a presence of cotyledon called as cotyledon, and this is called as scutellum. Here there is a presence of the parts like this, and this is usually called as the lower one called as radicle. This radicle in turn gives rise to coleorhiza, and this coleorhiza is giving rise to root system. Here this is called as plumule. The plumule is giving rise to coleoptile. This coleoptile is giving rise to shoot system. So here the covering a leafy shoot which is covering of the plumule is called as coleoptile. So this is called as embryo, that is called as endosperm, and this is called as monocot seed. So in a monocot seed, aileron layer, endosperm, and there is a presence of cotyledon called as scutellum, and there is a presence of plumule give rise to coleoptile, and radicle give rise to coleorhiza. So this is called as monocot. But here the right answer is called as radicle of the embryo. So we go for the next word. Most diversified monocot family. So here diversified monocot family is, so first option is Liliaceae family. Liliaceae, this is commonly called as lily family. Example, lily, and it is called as lily family. The second one is called as Poaceae. So the Poaceae is called as, it is a grass family, or it is called as wheat and grass. This is called as Poaceae, and the third one is called as Orchidaceae. So in this Orchidaceae, so just we see there is a presence of orchids. So orchids are nothing but the flowers which bloom once in 6 years, 8 years, 12 years, like that. There is the presence of different types of orchids have been present. The next one is palm. So this palm, it is nothing but coconut, date palm, all that comes under this. So here the question is most diversified monocot family. So all these are monocots only, but diversified monocot family is Orchidaceae. So orchids is the right answer. So we'll start with the next question. Clove used as a spice represents. So here the clove, in Kannada we use a word lavanga. Clove used as a spice represents. The first option is seed, the second one is leaves, and the third one is flower bud, and the other one is, fourth option is stem tip. So here the clove used in a spice, that is, the right answer is called as flower buds. So the clove will be in this shape, and this is used as a spice, and this is called as flower bud. This is flower bud. So here there is a presence of trifoliate compound leaf. Trifoliate compound leaf is being present. So the right answer is called as flower bud. So we go for the next question. Which of the following members have a family Solanaceae? Is rich in vitamin C. Rich in vitamin C. So we go for the options. The first one is called as guava. So this guava has the presence of vitamin C, A and E are been present in guava. The second one is called as gooseberry. So the second one is gooseberry. In this gooseberry there is a presence of vitamin C and there is a presence of calcium. Vitamin C and calcium is being present in the gooseberries. So we go back to the third option called as strawberry. Strawberry. In this strawberry there is a presence of manganese and potassium. Manganese and potassium is present, and this is usually acting as a antioxidants, and this is one of the polyphenols. So we go for the fourth option called as tomato. The tomato has the presence of vitamin C, potassium, folate and vitamin K. So all this have been present in the tomato. So here the question is, following members of Solanaceae. Solanaceae is rich in vitamin C. So in all this we have seen there is a presence of vitamin C, but Solanaceae family is nothing but tomato. So the right answer is tomato. Fourth option is right. So we go for the next question. In a sweet pea, so here the word sweet pea, this is called as Lathyrus odoratus. This is called as sweet pea. So in a Kannada word we use sihi batani, that is called as sweet potato. So here the question is, in a sweet pea the tendrils are modified. Tendrils are nothing but wire-like structures or usually help in climbing. But here the tendrils are modified. The first option is stem, branches. The second option is called as leaflets. Third option is called as leaves, and fourth option is called as stipules. So here in a sweet pea the tendrils are nothing but wire-like structures. So this tendrils will be like this. So this tendrils, wire-like structures, they take their origin from the leaf. So the right answer is leaves. So in a leaf tip, so we can see there is a presence of wire-like structures have been present. So the right answer is called as leaves. So we go for the next question. Climbing roots occurs in climbing roots. So they take the support of the host and keep on climbing with the other plants. So the climbing roots are, the first option is climbing roots. The first one is called as vanilla. So the first option is vanilla. This vanilla itself has the presence of climbing roots. The second one is called as vanda. So this vanda is called as one of the epiphytic plant. Epiphytic plant which produces velamen roots, which produces a spongy texture roots called velamen. They grow on the other plants, grow on the other trees. Hence it is called as epiphytic vanda. And the third one is called as pongamia. So we know that Pongamia pinnata. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಎ ವರ್ಡ್ ಹೊಂಗೆ ಮರ, Pongamia pinnata. So this is a tree. And fourth one is called as Ctenophyllum. Ctenophyllum. So this is nothing but again it is a epiphyte, but here there is a presence of ribbon shaped roots have been present, but it is one of the epiphytes. But here the right answer is vanilla. So we go for the next question. Which roots among the following grow against gravitational force? So here the roots which of the following grow against the gravitational force. So we know that all the roots move towards gravity. So that is called as geotrophism. So the meaning of geotrophism, moving towards gravity. Moving or movement towards gravity. This is called as geotrophism. But here the question is against the gravitational force. So the first one, when you take a word called as prop roots. So this prop roots called as a banyan tree, example, banyan tree. The roots from the nodal region, they come down, they touches to the soil. As they touch to the soil and gives a mechanical support. So this is moving towards gravity, hence we use a word prop roots, helps in mechanical support. So we go for the second one called as stilt roots. The second one is stilt roots. So in a sugarcane or maize, there is a presence of roots towards the lower side, and this roots helps in mechanical support, and these roots are called as stilt roots, can be seen in the sugarcane and maize. And in the third one called as, the third option is called as buttress roots. So buttress roots. So these roots are usually, so in a trees, the roots, they grow horizontal. So they go horizontal and again they enter into the root system like this. So here when a tree is there, the roots on the upper side horizontally and they go into the soil. Again it is gravitational, they move towards the gravity, and this prevents in falling of the tree. That is called as buttress roots. And the fourth one is called as nematophores. So nematophores can be noticed in Rhizopora. So in Rhizopora, just we see there is a presence of a tree trunk. This grows in the saline water, saline water. So here the roots produces small stick-like structures and stand erect. So like this, the roots are usually, they stand stick-like structures, and thus roots are called as nematophores. They grow into the soil and come out of the gravitational force. They are moving upwards. So this nematophores has the presence of microscopic openings called as lenticels. And this lenticels, they take in of air and gives out of air. So these roots helps in respiration. So they are also called as respiratory roots. Respiratory roots are their respiration. So these roots are coming away from the gravity. Hence the right answer is called as nematophores. We'll go for the next question. 34. Fibrous root system of a wheat. Fibrous root system of a wheat develops from. So we know that fibrous root are always present in the monocots. From where this usually arises? So what the question is? Fibrous root system of a wheat plant, from where the root system begins. So the first one is called as radicle. The first one is a radicle, and this radicle is always giving rise to root system. It gives rise to root system. And the second one is usually called as the base of stem. So base of stem is the second option, and the third option is called as lateral roots. So from the roots there is a lateral roots takes its origin, and fourth one is called as plumule. Plumule is always giving rise to shoot system. But here the question is fibrous root system. Yes, it takes its origin from the radicle, but here fibrous root system of a wheat develops from. So the question is the base of the root. From the base of the root, usually they take their origin. So we go for the next question, 35. In Amorphophilus, vegetative multiplication occurs through. Here, Amorphophilus, vegetative multiplication. So this, once the vegetative parts are multiplied to give rise to new plants, they are also called as vegetative propagation or vegetative propagals. So Amorphophilus, vegetative multiplication occurs through. So the first option here is bulbils. So these bulbils are nothing but the examples of agave. So in a agave plant there is a presence of bulbil. So this is not the right answer. The second one is called as rhizome. So here the example is usually ginger. So from a ginger the rhizome is being present. So this is not the answer. And the third one is called as carum. In this carum the answer or the option is carum. So here the example is Amorphophilus. So this is the right option. And fourth option is called as offset. This offset can be noticed in Hycornia. Hycornia. This is also called as water hyacinth. Water hyacinth. It is also called as terror of Bengal. But here the right option is Amorphophilus. There is a presence of vegetative multiplications can be seen from the carum. So the right answer is carum. Next question, 36. A rhizome which grows vertically upwards. The rhizome which grows vertically upwards. So the first option is again carum. Carum is Amorphophilus. Amorphophilus. The second one is called as stolon. So this stolon can be seen in jasmine and mint. Jasmine, mint, there is a presence of stolon. And in the third one called as bulbil. The third one is bulbils, you can see in agave. And the fourth option is rootstock. Rootstock. So this is the right option. So here rhizome which grows horizontal, that is always called as root stalks. So this is the right answer. So we go for the next question. Nematophores or the characteristic features of. Nematophores or the characteristic features of. The first one is hydrilla. So this hydrilla is nothing but which has the presence of balancing roots. Balancing roots are being present in hydrilla. So we go for the second one. Second one is called as typha. This typha has the presence of fibrous root. And the third option is called as rhizopora or called as Soneritaria. Example for this is mangroves. Mangrove roots. And fourth option is called as banyan tree. You can see there is a presence of prop roots. Here the question is nematophores. So nematophores are always present in the mangroves. So the right answer is rhizopora is the right option, and this is the third option. So we go for the next one, 38. Hypanthodium inflorescens is found in. Hypanthodium inflorescens. So here It is a special type of inflorescence called as hypanthodium. So in a hypanthodium inflorescence, we can see there is a presence of three types of flowers have been present. So there is a presence of small opening, and this opening is called as hostia. And here towards the opening there is a presence of male flowers. Here on the topper side there is a presence of male flowers have been present. So this is male flowers. Towards the lower side of this inflorescence there is a presence of female flowers have been present. This is called as female flowers. Towards the sides there is a presence of a sterile flower. Sterile gall flowers have been present. So this looks similar like a female flower, but it is called as a sterile flowers, and this sterile flowers are present on the either side. So this is called as gall flowers. So here wasp bee enters through the hostia and rotates. Once it rotates, the bee is rotating inside. Automatically the pollen grains falls on the ovary and they undergo fertilization. So as it undergoes fertilization, same way this wasp lays the eggs and comes out. So these eggs have been hatched into small worms. So here this type of inflorescence is called as hypanthodium inflorescence. So we see hypanthodium inflorescence is seen in, the first option is called as coriander, dhania. Coriander is nothing but, in Kannada we use a word dhania. This is not the answer. The second one is called as sunflower. Sunflower, Elianthus anus, Suryakanthi. Next, we go for the third one called as cauliflower. Cauliflower is also not the answer, and the fourth one is called as fig. In fig and ficus, we see there is a presence of hypanthodium, Ficus bengalensis. So the right answer is fig. We go for the next question, 39. Underground stem that has contractile roots. So here the word contractile roots. So this is nothing but adventitious root. So here contractile roots are nothing but it is an adventitious roots. Meaning of adventitious, it never takes its origin from the radical. Adventitious roots develops from the base of the stem. Base of stem has in corum. So this is called as contractile vacuoles or contractile roots. So we start with the first option is rhizome. So this rhizome is an underground stem, has the presence of ginger is an example. This is not the answer. The second one is called as corum. So this corum is the right answer, Amorphophilus. Corum can be noticed in Amorphophilus. This has the presence of contractile roots. The third one is called as stem tuber. Stem tuber, potato is the example, but this is not the one. And the fourth one is called as bulb. So the bulb can be seen in onion. So this can be seen in Amorphophilus. Amorphophilus, and stem tuber, it is potato. Ginger is rhizome. But the right answer is corum. So we go for the 40th question. 40. Bamboo is. The first one is clump. So the clump is nothing but it is the aerial stem of the grasses. So here aerial stem of sludges as well as grasses. So this is nothing but clump is nothing but a stalk. At the nodal region of a bamboo, there is a presence of the joints that is called as stalk. So the right answer of a bamboo is clump. The second one is called as bulb. So bulb can be noticed in the onion. And in the third option, we see runner. Runner is nothing but subaerial stem modification. They grow horizontal to the soil. So runner can be noticed in oxalis. Whereas the fourth question is twinner. Twinner is nothing but thread-like interwings. Winds like a thread-like structures is called as twinners. So here the right answer is called as clump. Next question is 41. Arrangement of veins and in the veinlets. Arrangement of veins and veinlets in a lamina, or lamina is nothing but leaf lamina or leaf blade, is termed as. The first one is vernation. So here the meaning of vernation, it is the arrangement of floral bud, arrangement of floral buds, or we call it as arrangement of young leafy shoot, or arrangements of buds in the floral parts. Arrangement of bud in the floral part is called as vernation. The second one is called as venation. Venation is nothing but arrangement of veins and veinlets. Arrangement of veins and veinlets in leaf lamina is called as venation. Here the second question or second option is the right one. So we go for the third one called as phyllotaxy. The third one is called phyllotaxy. So phyllotaxy is nothing but arrangement of leaves on the nodal region of stem. On the nodal region of stem is called as phyllotaxy. So the fourth option is all of the above. All of the above. But here the right answer is venation. Arrangement of veins and veinlets in the lamina is termed as venation. So we go for 42nd question. A stem with a distinct solid nodes and a hollow internodes is, I'll repeat this, there is a distinct solid node and a hollow internode. This is present in. So the first option is Solobo. So this Solobo is nothing but creeping underground stem. Creeping underground stem develops or produces roots and buds. Roots and buds are being produced. That is called as Solobo. Second one is called as clump. So this clump you can see in the bamboo. There is a presence of hollow internodes, and also solid nodes have been present. Nodal region, solid nodes have been present and internodes. So the right answer is clump. And the third option is called as scape. So scape is nothing but it is a long internode, that are formed from, that forms the basal part, or the whole of a peduncle, in herbaceous stem. in herbaceous stem. This is called as scape. And the fourth one is called as intercalary stem. The intercalary stem is nothing but there is a presence of internodes. Internodes are elongated by meristematic system. Elongation. Internodes are elongated by meristem. So this is called as intercalary stem. But the right answer for this is club. So we go for 43. Leaves of dichotomous plants generally possess which type of venation? So here the word venation is nothing but arrangement of veins and veinlets. So here we mention a word dicot. So dicotyledon, the venation is always in the form of a network. So here the venation is nothing but arrangement of veins and veinlets. So usually in a dicot there is a presence of the veins, midrib, veins and these veinlets. So they look like branchings, they look like a net. So this is called as, they look like a network. So this is called reticulate venation. Reticulate venation. So here the first option itself is the right option. So first one is reticulate. Second one is parallel. So parallel venation can be seen in the monocots. And the third option is circinate. The word circinate is nothing but coilings. So the leaf starts coiling, that is called as circinate. The fourth option is both 1 and 3. So that is not the answer. So reticulate is the right answer. So we go for match the columns and select the correct combinations. Match the columns and correct combinations. So I am going to write the direct correct answers. So column 1, the first one has the presence of underground stem. So here the underground stem can be noticed in potato. The option is or, the right option is or, potato. The second one is stem tendrils. So it is nothing but a wire-like structures, helps in climbing, called as stem tendrils. Here the right option is T. This can be seen in cucumber. This can be seen in the cucumber. Third question is stem thorns. Stem thorns are nothing but which helps in protection. So stems thorns, the right option is yes, and it is in the citrus, lemon, orange. In citrus you can see there is a presence of stem thorns have been present. Next one is flattened stem. The flattened stem can be seen in the opuntia. Opuntia is nothing but cactus and there is a presence of opuntia. And the next one is fleshy cylindrical stem. Fleshy cylindrical stem can be seen in euphorbia. So this is nothing but the right matching. So this right matching is seen in the fourth option. So we go for the next question. So here the fourth option is the right one. 45. The plant of arid. The word arid is nothing but it is a dry areas, xerophytic areas. So plants growing in a dry or xerophytic regions with a flat green stem carrying out photosynthesis. Here the stem is flat, green and helps in photosynthesis. Here the first option is called as euphorbia. Euphorbia, this has a presence of a cylindrical stem, but here this is not the answer. So we go for the second one. called as Opuntia. So in this Opuntia, the stem is flat, green in color. Here the leaves are modified into spines. So here this is called as the right answer, which grows in the dry areas or xerophytic areas. Next, Colocasia. Colocasia is also not the answer, but do not have a flat stem. And the fourth option called as Bougainvillea. So Bougainvillea is nothing but a paper flower, or we call it as paper flower. This also has a cylindrical stem. So the right option is second one. Dear students, we have completed the chapter with multiple choice NEET questions. So from the next classes, we start with a next chapter. But students, see that you should concentrate more on the studies. Observe the video full. Try to write that in a separate books and prepare. Thank you.